And we're back. You guys ready for the next word? The word of the day. Everybody keeps talking about, even myself, and I haven't seen anybody make a video specifically on this. So here it is. This video will also be uploaded to Facebook on my The Badwolf unincorporated channel or page. Commerce, commercial. We've talked about it. We said it. Let's jump right in. No hoopla this time. Commercial. Okay, that's commercial. So just commerce. Let's start back there. Commerce. Okay, start at the beginning. Full breakdown, guys. You're going to want to hear this. And like, subscribe, share this. Commerce, 16C. The exchange of goods and services, especially on large scale, involving transportation between cities, states, and countries. Okay. So it's an exchange of goods and services. Large scale. Transportation is also a commercial word. I've got e-commerce, internal commerce, intrastate, commerce clause. Here's where it gets good, guys. It says commerce court. What's a commerce court? Me, 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 me. La, 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 la. Ah, hallelujah. 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 Commerce court says C court, not SEA court, but we know that's what it's related to. It says C court, just the word court, COURT. So you're telling me that court or regular courts that we deal with are commerce courts related to exchange of goods and services, especially on large scale, involving transportation, motor vehicle between cities, intra-cities, intra-state commerce. Commercial. So we now know that the transportation code is based on commerce. We now know that a police officer is, whether they know it or not, are, what do they call them? Traffic authorities, traffic officers. And the word traffic means commerce, and commerce means for profit, exchange of goods and services. So really, we're not getting true law. No offense to any of the police officers out there, just keeping it real, or any law enforcement for that matter. We're not getting true law. We're getting commerce law. It's allowed here, but that's not American law. It's for commerce. That's for corporations making money for profit, which would be the police stations and the state. Because the police stations can operate between civil, criminal, common law, and so can the states. But they have the ability to govern their own people and to court their own people. So if they resist or refuse common law or constitutional law, private law, it's because they're trying to treat you as a member of theirs. And they are supposed to regard constitutional law as being the superior law, which it is in the United States of America. but they're not taught constitutional law. The courts are supposed to, the lower courts operate between civil and criminal, but they can also hear common law and some equity, but they don't because those are superior. And in their courtrooms have been convened under the civil statutory system, not common law, not constitutional law, not private law. So a lot of people, the law is being misapplied to. They want to turn around and say, you're misapplying the law. No, you're misapplying the jurisdiction. Commercial, Latin, commercium, trade, traffic, intercourse. So even when you're fucking, when they call it intercourse, they're basically saying you're doing something that's in the commercial jurisdiction. Traffic is commercial for profit. Trade obviously is financial, which all falls underneath commerce. French, assimilated from, com, together with, mercis or merci, tu parlez-vous français, merci, merci beaucoup, which is French. Merci, which is thank you. That part's not in here. That's me knowing French. Genitive to mercs, wares, merchandise, relating to or involving the selling of goods or services for profit. There it is. So anytime they're mentioning trade, traffic, intercourse, services, goods, selling, it's for profit. And if it's for profit, even if a government agency, municipality operates for profit, where these words, even if they're saying, well, we're a government, we're not for profit, the moment that they're engaged in anything business, which is commercial, trade, traffic, intercourse, it reduces that government down to a commercial or business level of law, in which case they're then dealing in profit, which means they're not the law. The real law cannot deal in profit. Merchandise, mercantile, which comes from the Atlantean word mer, meridian, stadia, commercial advertising. Now I'm reading back in the book. Even a nonprofit entity such as the government can engage in commercial activities if it acts in the way that private entities normally act. The touchstone is normally whether the nature of the act is public, governmental, or private, commercial. For example, a government that contracts with the procurement of goods or services is considered to be engaged in a commercial activity. Yet, if the government acts in the particular role of a sovereign as a regulator of markets, as opposed to being a participant in the market, its activities are considered non-commercial, resulting from business activities reaccruing from commerce or exchange, commercial gains. Three, employed in trade, engaged in commerce, commercial travelers. Manufactured or markets put up for trade commercial products, or relating to or involving the ability of a product or business to make profit, commercial potential. Produced and sold in large quantities, commercial. Pejorative, more concerned with money than with quality. He sold out and became commercial. I told you a long time ago, the state ofs are for-profit entities. They can claim they're governments, but they're businesses. And when they lower themselves to engaging in any form of profit, instead of the quality, dealing with quality of the people, they sold out and became commercial. Just like the sheriff's departments and the police stations, all of them became commercialized. That's what this is. And the courts. The lower courts are nisi prius, which means not of the original jurisdiction, and they are for profit. They make money. Commercial bank, C, bank. Commercial court, C, court. Commercial crime. Yep, you said it right. C, crime. So you're then telling me that banks are commercial, crime is commercial, these lower courts are commercial. Hallelujah. Here it is. Here it is. Hear ye, hear ye. Commercial driver's license. The word commercial driver's license, the definition says, see the driver's license. I told you. I said it. Now run tell that. The driver's license is commercial. They merely drop off the word commerce because then if you want to understand that the very license inside of that police officer's wallet that he has to be able to do what he's doing is a driver's license, but it's a commercial driver's license. That's why in his car he's doing commerce. You jump in Uber and you just I'm you know what, nigga, I'm broke. I'm broke, nigga. I'm gonna do Uber. Not saying that you're broke, that's why you're doing it. I'm just having a little fun. But if you are, I'm not mad at you. But you're able to do that to service large quantities of people, like my son's mom, and that's considered commerce. It's commercial. They regulate commerce in the public. Commercial driver's license, Black Law's Dictionary, C, driver's license. Commercial law, see what that is. The substantive law dealing with sale, substantive, I consider that to mean less than the original. Sub means lower. Standive, having authority and stance, but not higher than the Constitution. For the sale and distribution of goods, financing of credit transactions, especially on goods sold, negotiable instruments. Most American commercial law is governed by the UCC. So you mean to tell me, you highlight that some bitch, which I already know. This is proof. I'm giving you the proof. Here's the proof in the pudding. I told you this is one of the most powerful videos I've ever made. Most American commercial law, which I'd say all of it really, is governed by the UCC. But like what, Louisiana, I think is like the only one who's like quasi that. So then that means to tell me that if the states are then operating under the UCC, the state of Florida, the state of Arkansas, the state of Wisconsin, state of California, the state of whatever, that is a for-profit business doing business on the organic de jure land that is known as Florida State, Wisconsin State, Arkansas State, California State, two separate things. And they're governed by the UCC, which is the Commercial Law and Code, created by individuals that were American but adopted these laws from over in Europe and various other places, brought it here under maritime jurisdiction. Now, who controls all that and up the ladder? We're going to leave that alone for now, but it's here. So it's commercial law. Tom Merce, mercy, mercy, asking for mercy. Merci in French is thank you. So com mercy, com. I'd have to look up the definition of com. Not C. Never mind. Anyway. Oh, it just, I didn't even finish reading. Proved it right here. Let's go. The next thing, it's hold on. I'm gonna read the whole thing from the beginning. Commercial law, 18C. The substantive law dealing with the sale and distribution of goods, the financing of credit transactions on securities of goods sold, negotiable instruments. Most American commercial law is governed by the UCC, also termed mercantile law. Mercantile, mer. That means water. Can mercantile. And that comes from the ancient Atlantean word for doing business because they would sail to different parts of the world doing business. Where? On the banks of the water, on the ship, on the dock, the docket, the doctor, bill of sale, certificate, certification, birth certificate, birthing a ship, water. Can't make this up. Although the term commercial law is not a term of art in American law, it has become synonymous in recent years with the legal rules contained in the UCC. I'm glad I read that one. That's fire. Commercial name. C, trade name. Commercial sex act. Commercial use. See the word use. So when you see the word use, it is generally to be construed that the word use means it's commercial in nature. Now, why did I bookmark this page? What was on this one? Commissioned officer, see officer. So officer means commerce and commissioned to be put in place for commercial use. Police commissioner, a civil commissioner who supervises the policy, administration, and discipline of a police policy department, that of a city, also termed commissioner of police. He's the head policy enforcer, not creator, enforcer. Hmm. Maybe that was the word. I'm not sure why I had this page marked. Okay, I said I was gonna look up the word com, right? COM. Because com is like .com, which we know is commerce or commercial, and committee, company. There has to be some ancient meaning behind that. All it says is com is an abbreviation for company. Hmm. I think there's more to it than that, but then that means anything that says like command, commander, commission, commerce, commercial, .com, .com means company. It means it's company in nature. That would make sense. Still think there's more to com than that. Let's look up the word, well, while we're here. Colorable. A claim or action appearing to be trade value or right. The pleading did not state a colorable claim. Intended to deceive, counterfeit. The court found the conveyance of exempt property to be colorable transfer and so set it aside. Enemy combatant. You guys always hear me say non-combatant, right? Combatant. Someone who participates directly in hostilities. Legal, legitimate combatants are members of the armed forces or uniformed members of a militia or volunteer corps under military command and subject to the laws of war. Non-combatant. Non-combatant. Enemy combatant. Someone who belongs to or actively supports forces hostile to the United States, such as Al Qaeda. Almost there. So I was looking for the word set aside that they mentioned earlier. Of a court to annul or vacate a judgment order, etc. The judge refused to set aside the default judgments. Set aside something such as a percentage of funds that's reserved or put aside for a specific purpose. An arrangement in which a local government helps small business develop by making financial assistance available to them. That's it, guys. Did you just learn that you've been doing commerce? I didn't, but I just proved it. I'll talk to you guys later. Hit that bell, like, subscribe, and share this video with the tribe. Truth will not be denied. Just your favorite national born natural. I'll talk to you guys later.